And we are live. Let me check a couple of things here. All right. Okay, we are live. Sorry about that. Had to check a couple of things, but we are live now. And tonight we're going to be talking about frequently asked questions that ghost hunters get, part 2. And we're starting right now. And welcome back, Miss Ashley. How have you been doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good. How was your week?
It's been pretty good. Busy, very busy, and working on our new episode. But yeah.
And that new episode is looking fabulous, what I can see from what I've seen so far. So tell us a little bit. Can you give us any spoilers about this episode? What do you have in store for us?
Yeah, and I'm actually going to be posting a few spoilers, or not spoilers, but teasers on TikTok, kind of leading up to it being released. It's not ready yet, so we don't have, exactly a date we're going to air it, but I am going to be posting a few teasers. So if you don't follow us on TikTok, be sure to go do that. But yeah, so we got some great evidence there that there a lot happened that we actually got to experience, but in listening to our audio and everything, I have found some EVPs that will blow your mind. Nice. And I cannot wait to share it with people. Literally, I'll be reviewing it, and then I'll even sync it up with the audio to try to make sure that it's it is what I think it is, and it's to make sure it's not anything I can debunk it with or whatever. And it's I'm blown away. It's some incredible stuff.
That was an awesome. Well, actually, it was a 2-night event, so we were there for 2 nights instead of just one. Sorry, my mic. For 2 nights instead of one. So there's a lot to sift through, a lot to do. So it's taken a while to get this one out, but it's definitely going to be worth it. We had a lot happen that night, and we just had a great time.
Yeah.
That night, those nights.
Yes.
But
yeah, and that's the thing with it being a 2-night investigation is double the video and audio we have to review.
Right.
But that just means even more that we get to share with everyone.
Exactly.
I cannot wait.
This is going to be nice. Yeah. And so far, some of the teasers that you put together have been, I'm really excited. So you did say where it was from.
So we went to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
Okay. Yeah.
And and so it was my second time going there. I know you've been there more times than I have. And so it's definitely it lives up to its reputation.
Oh, big time. And this is probably my 6th time, I believe, 6th time going there. So it's it's definitely, the first time we went was the only time that I've ever been that we got nothing the entire night. And even other investigators are like, you got nothing that night? I'm like, it was dead, no pun intended. It was bad. But every single other time it's been jumping the entire night, and this past time was no exception.
Yeah.
So tonight we're going to be talking about some questions, frequently asked questions that ghost hunters get, and that we've gotten throughout the years. So let's get started. And also, anyone in the chat is welcome to ask us questions along the way. And let's get into it. Our first question of the night is it safe to investigate your own home? What do you think about that? Now, we did cover this a little bit on our first frequently asked question. As far as I know, I live in a haunted home. You live in a haunted home. So tell me, what is your take on this? What do you think it's safe to investigate your own home?
So there's so many mixed opinions on this particular topic. And, I've heard people say, oh, never investigate your own home.
Yeah.
And, okay, so I have a lot of thoughts on that. But one in particular is if you say never investigate your own home, it kind of sends a message, I think, to potential clients being like, oh, well, is it not safe to investigate my home? And
Yeah.
so I feel like as long as you know what you're doing, like don't have someone come in there that is going to antagonize and like,
Hmm.
act a fool in your house and
Right.
stir things up. You want to have somebody reputable, a group or, come in and, and if you're an inexperienced and seasoned investigator yourself, I don't see any harm in that as long as
Right.
we know how to be careful and we're not inviting things, we're investigating, we're not so there's safe ways to do it, and of course there's stupid ways to do it, and
Right.
so it's you've
And
got to use some common sense.
yeah, and actually, when
Mhm.
we do a private home, a private investigation, one of the first questions we ask is, "Have you ever investigated in this house before? And if you have, what have you done?" We want to make sure, But we always ask them, "Has anyone played with a Ouija board? Has anyone done, something that maybe we need to know about? Had a little candle
Mhm.
service, whatever they've had, a séance, whatever they've had."
Mhm.
So, we ask things like that when we go into a private investigation.
Yeah, and when I before I was with the group that we're with, the Tuscaloosa
Mhm,
Paranormal Research Group, that we were I had experienced, and I know I'm repeating myself from past podcasts,
mhm,
but I have always experienced paranormal activity, growing up and in the house that I lived in before I met all of you guys.
mhm.
And that's one thing that we were told, or people would say is don't investigate your own home. But I didn't know like what was there. I wanted to know before I
Right,
contact a group because I
right.
knew I needed peace of mind for myself. But I was like, I'm gonna order a recorder. It's hard to say.
Order a recorder.
And yeah, so we did, and I didn't know how to investigate, so I wasn't going to attempt to investigate what was happening. So we just set a recorder. We had a recorder going,
Mhm.
and just to catch if trying to catch some of the things we were experiencing, and so I did that, and then contacted the group, and that way I had some stuff to send to say, hey, what do you make of this? But I wasn't I didn't know how to investigate myself, and so I
Right.
wasn't going to do that without. Now I would feel completely fine with it because now I know how to investigate properly,
Yeah,
and so as long as you're always careful and you don't invite something in your house, so you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
and you know antagonize and stuff. I think it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I feel the same way. We are
Mhm,
actually, planning this summer to do an investigation at my house because,
mhm,
I've never investigated at my house, and I've lived here 9 years, and it has some rumors, the house has some stories,
mhm,
that I've heard along the 9 years I've lived here. So, I would like to get some answers as far as that goes. I've had a couple of movies that were filmed in my house, and
mhm.
the people that filmed the crew of the people that have filmed the movies had a couple of incidences in the house, and so we're gonna get some answers there. All right,
Yeah. Mhm.
all right, and
I do
mhm,
want to let me ask you real quick. I pulled up the chat over
mhm,
to the side to make sure wasn't gonna miss anybody either.
mhm,
And the screen, like the live, on my end, it looks frozen on our thumbnail. So is it
yeah,
playing for you on your end, or is
it
it?
is. Like I
I
said,
just it's
we
probably a
yeah,
glitch on mine.
yeah, it's possible. I think I accidentally started live while we were getting started, so there may be two. So we're gonna have to go back and fix that. We have switched to
Okay.
another software that we're using because we were having so many issues with our stream with the previous software that we were using. So we are using the new software. So, sort of getting the ins and outs of it. And like I said, it would not, it would not be Crash Course. It would not be Crash Paranormal without a crash. So
yeah, I see it now. I was selected on the wrong one. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. So
right.
we're good.
So we're gonna have to definitely delete the other one because it's probably me going.
Yeah.
What do I do? This? What do I do? This stupid thing. Yeah. But let's go on to our next question. Our next question is, what is the difference? This is a good one. What is the difference between a seance and an EVP session?
That's a good one. I'll let you start with that one.
Okay. Well, an EVP session, I think they're totally 100% different. One is everyone sits around a table, they join hands, and you have a medium. I think that's the biggest difference is supposedly having a medium present that's conducting the entire thing. I automatically think of The Others, which is one of the best movies ever made, and I love it. Of course, I am your daughter. You just gotta love it. But but an EVP session is where you have your recorders. You sit wherever you'd like. Big part is sitting, not walking around, not holding a recorder in your hand. Do you know you're dead? That drives me insane. Sit down, put your recorder down, stay still, and ask your questions. So what do you think the difference between a seance and an EVP session is, Miss Ashley?
Yeah, so pretty much the same thing you said. I feel like with a seance, you have someone that acts more as like a conduit that is speaking on behalf of the spirits, like almost like channeling or something. An EVP session is more scientific based, like we are using equipment and we are documenting things that is there that we cannot hear with our own ears, and but a lot of times you might get a disembodied voice that you can hear in real time. But with the seance, to me it's a little bit more like inviting and invoking a little bit.
Right.
With the EVP session, it's almost just like you're just documenting what's already there, and you're not trying to spike activity. You're just trying to kind of learn what is already there and
sort of
try to form
sort of record your environment, sort of ask your questions, try to gain trust if that makes sense, but try to put yourself in there and record what you've got instead of in a way both of them are invoking, both of them are you're invoking whoever's there, whatever's there to come and talk to you, but I think the methodology is just totally different.
And both are like a form of communication. But with a seance, it usually does involve someone being almost like the spokesperson for the spirit, like it's a channeling,
right?
So they are different, even though they are very similar,
right? In a way. Let me ask you this: have you ever been in a real seance? Because I haven't. I've never done a full-on seance. I'd like to, just to experience it.
I haven't either. I mean, it would be interesting to see it for myself, but
exactly.
I don't know. I love being able to, with an EVP session, having a piece of equipment validate something. Whereas, if you are doing it with a seance, you have to trust the people around you.
Okay, so let's do this.
You have to trust the people around you too with an EVP session, but still,
absolutely.
Does that make sense?
It does. And one of the things that we are going to start exploring, just me and Ashley with Crash, we're wanting to take part in some other groups' activities, join some other groups, see how they do some things. One of our goals is to start a paranormal community. So to do that, we would like to go with a couple of groups. Maybe there are groups out there that do seances that have, that are fairly trustworthy, that we could go and just join and do a seance and record it and see if we can get that correlation between a seance and an EVP session.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting to me. I would love that. So if you do have a
Yeah.
group that does things like that, contact us. We'll see if we can get together and bring some ideas together. That'd be great.
Yeah, and that's one thing that about um building those connections like with other groups and
Mhm.
stuff. You learn more, like as an
Yeah,
investigator, you learn
absolutely.
more. And I can't really speak on behalf of a seance just because
Mhm.
I've never been a part of that, but I feel like if I were to um go and get to like be a part of something like that, I would go into it very skeptical. But you have to be that way with any type of investigating. You have to have be skeptical instead of jumping to whatever. But I would love to see something that changes my mind on that. Like I would love to see something that I'm like, that was awesome,
Yeah,
and so I'd love to be able to go and get to see how other groups do it.
yeah,
And
that's fun.
yeah.
We've worked with several groups in the past, before you got here, and I started Birmingham Paranormal years and years ago, and then we joined forces with Tuscaloosa Paranormal Research Group and became one family, and so it's it, you know it's fun seeing
Yeah.
how other people do things, and it's
Yeah.
terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it is really fun. I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why when we go to locations, I like having, a lot of times the volunteers there, or the host or
Yeah.
whoever, I
Mhm.
like to invite them along
Right.
and let them be a part of our sessions too. And I remember back in 2020, I think it was, when we went to Hell's Bar Dam, and we met a guy there. In that same trip, we investigated Old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
Right.
So the host for our night that night, we ended up inviting him to come along with us to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. And so that was fun because you do get to kind of network off of each other, learn more. And he says hello.
Uh-huh. There's Jeremy, our old friend Jeremy. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, Jeremy, just feel free to ask away.
Yep.
Let's go on to our next question here. We have how to build trust with a spirit. How do you build trust
That's a
with a
good one.
spirit? That is a good one.
Hmm. Um, so there's a lot of different things you can do. I think that, kind of taking it back to like the Drish house, um, the good thing there is we've gotten to investigate several times, and I feel like by doing so, just by getting um going there many times, I feel like that is helping us build trust with those particular spirits. We know what triggers them as far as like trigger objects and stuff like that. We know how to get certain spirits there to respond to us. And I feel like that's a form of trust that we've been able to build with them. And also by going to locations respectful, and with, a lot of times if there's groups that come in and yell at the spirits or
Yeah.
whatever, you're going to, like, you're not, that spirit's not going to want you
No,
there.
no,
And they're
absolutely not.
either, yeah, they're either going to try to get you out, or they're just not even going to respond to you. And so the more you do get to, or even if you don't get to go somewhere more than once, you go just one time,
Yeah.
um, but talk to the spirits and explain to them why you're there. Introduce yourself,
Yeah.
explain to them why you're there, your intentions, and then talk to them like they're people, because they are.
They
They're
are, or
people.
they
So
were. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And also building trust with the spirit. To me, when you're going into a location, you also need to build trust with the owners of the properties, with the
Mhm.
people that work there, because we're there to offer a service, and
Mhm.
we're also there to create bonds with them.
Mhm.
And that leads into, what we call ethical ghost hunting, and which we've
Mhm.
talked about that many times, and we will be doing a podcast on that. But ethical ghost hunting, building trust with the people that you're working with and working for, and you know, cleaning up after yourself, not
Yeah.
provoking, just things you would do if you go into anyone else's house as a guest.
Mhm.
Even if you
Yeah.
are paying for an event, still you're those people's guest and you're the spirit's guest, so act accordingly.
Mhm.
We're very big on
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, we've been told by hosts at locations that um, some groups will come in and they'll say stuff like this to us because we do clean up after ourselves. We are very we enjoy even just hanging out
Yeah.
with the people and getting to know them outside of the investigation, but we're very like inviting to them, and
Hmm.
we do clean up after ourselves, and they take notice of that. And
Hmm.
so there's been several people tell us before that some groups will come in, leave a mess, and just leave it there.
Yeah.
And they come in, they're rude to the host. A lot of times these hosts are
They're
volunteering.
volunteering their
And
time. Yeah.
yes, and then you come in, you're rude to them. And but yeah, I think all of that kind of, like, let's say the volunteers, they are there more often, and those spirits know them.
Right.
And if they they maybe have a bond with these spirits, and if you come in and you're acting rude and being off-putting to your host, the spirits aren't going to be as inviting, you know, to you. And so
Right.
that is another way to build trust with
Absolutely.
them.
Absolutely. And
Hmm.
that is important to us. And again, ethical ghost hunting, we'll be doing a series on that as well. All right.
Yeah.
Our next question of the evening is, are child spirits really demons taking on the form of a child? Now, we get this all the time. It's child spirit. Don't trust that.
Yeah.
We get that a lot.
You get
So,
that a lot too because of movies.
yeah,
Movies will always
absolutely.
portray like a child spirit as being demonic or
Right.
whatever. And yeah.
Sometimes a child spirit's just a child spirit. I think there's one in my house. Um,
Hmm.
because I've had several people have seen a child in my house, and I have no kids, so that's very strange. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that? What do you feel?
So when I was a little girl, I was probably about 12 or 13 when this happened. But I remember the house I was living in. There was a night that I saw a little girl sitting on my bed, and a lot of people saw at that particular house. People would always see the little ghost girl. We didn't have
Hmm.
a name for her, but um, there was nothing evil about that.
No.
She was just the spirit of a little ghost girl.
Yeah.
She's, and so no, that there's been many times that we've been at locations and there's a spirit of a child. Old South Pittsburgh Hospital has the spirit of a little boy named Buddy, and people have interactions with him all the time. And we're even going to talk about him on our upcoming
Right.
episode. And so, and so yeah, I mean that's just partly because of movies,
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
like that, and also making little girl ghosts creepy and everything. So I mean, I think that maybe something really bad could maybe take the form of a child. That's so
Yeah.
rare. I've
Yeah.
never even heard of that actually happening.
Right.
You
And
know.
I'm not a big believer in demons, as you already know. I'm like, yeah, there's just some nasty spirits, but I'm still very much on the fence of demons and all of
Mhm.
that,
Yeah.
because after 17 years, I've never seen one. So seen a few ghosts, but never seen a demon. So some people are like, "Oh my God, are you serious?" Yeah, never. I've been around some evil entities, but nothing that would make me believe in demons. So mine is, sometimes a child spirit's just a child spirit, in my opinion,
Yeah.
my humble
Mhm.
opinion. All right. Our next question of the evening is, how can we as investigators dig a little deeper with the spirit? So, what are your thoughts?
So I know I refer to Drish a lot, but that's a location that we've been able to, well, we know the spirits are there, we know who's there, and so we don't have to start EVP sessions like, knock on the wall 3 times or whatever. We've gotten to the point now, we know when we start getting activity, usually we can tell which spirit it is, and we can dig deeper, even like in communicating with them. Even like the questions, we're can you tell us what year it is? No, none of that kind of stuff.
Right.
We know who it is, we've established who it is, we can dig deeper. And so and also you'll see, this is kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but you'll see this on the Old South Pittsburgh Hospital episode. But there was a session we did in the chapel area, and a lot of people have bad feelings there. It's kind of a heavy area. You feel that energy. It's kind of thick and heavy and just a little bit darker. And people get touched a lot down there, and you get sick feelings.
Yeah.
And it happened to me there. But I went back and did another session in the chapel after all that took place because I wanted to dig deeper. I'm like, okay, there's something here. It's wanting to reach out. I don't necessarily think it's trying to be scared. I want to find out why. Why are they touching people? Why are they, why do people have a sick feeling down there? Why do people have like this tightness in their chest? There's more to it. And so my frame of questioning even changed a little bit from normal EVP sessions. The way things I was saying to them, I had to be a little bit more sensitive with what I was saying because I was trying to dig deeper. Yeah. I wanted to find out more. I wanted to find out why. Yeah. So
you wanted to investigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew something was there. I just now want to get answers and actually form this communication to the point that they even understand me, where I'm coming from. And so, it's if you don't really know what I mean, I know that might sound kind of strange, but hopefully on that episode it'll make more sense. But also there's, digging deeper just means you've established something's there. Now you want to know them. You want to find more out. Yeah, if that makes sense.
One of the reasons that we do this is we want to know what's, life after death. We want to know what the other side is. And if you can get that connection with someone, with a spirit that's not residual, with a spirit that has some intelligence, maybe we can find those answers. And I think people's been searching for that for centuries. So, digging a little deeper could help, get that knowledge. And that's why we're doing it. We're not just doing it to be scared and running around in the dark all night. We want some answers, and we want to know what's out there, and we want to know if these things are real. So sometimes you got to just stop, put your recorders down, sit down, be still, and just listen, and see if you can, start a rapport with them, if that's even possible. So, yeah, I know what you mean. Definitely know what you mean. All right, our next question is, why can't they answer some of our questions? Or why can they answer some of our questions, but not others? That is my typo. I'm really good at typos. I am so good at typos.
Me too.
In multiple languages. I'm great at it.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. You answer that one first.
I don't know. It's almost like some questions get through and some questions don't. Maybe some questions get blocked. Maybe there's it's like a transmission, sort of like our live broadcast. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get cut off midstream. Sometimes it's everything's smooth sailing. So I don't know. And sometimes they may just not want to answer.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just for examples for people that, okay, so like sometimes we'll be doing a session and you might be able to get a response, like, when you're saying, let me know you're here,
Mhm.
you knock on something and then they will knock on something, but if you say it again, you get nothing. So it's like, why sometimes will they respond, sometimes they won't.
Yeah.
You might have an EVP session, you ask a question, you'll get a response, but then no other questions will get a response. So it's
Exactly.
like, it takes a lot of energy, and there could be so many theories on all this, but like it takes a lot of energy, and they could to respond to you. Maybe they spend all of their energy trying to manifest enough to respond one time, and then they just drained after that and they can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's strange. Or maybe they that veil that's between us is just so thick, but only at certain moments it's thin enough for them to respond. It's yeah, it's definitely interesting. I've always wondered that, why sometimes you can get great consistent responses and then it just
Yeah.
stops.
And just dries up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and sometimes you can actually feel that in the room. You can feel that energy. That energy is like just there. It is pumping. Then all of a sudden it's just stopped.
Yeah.
We get that a lot on investigations. Actually, it's like we'll walk in and it's like, oh my god, something's about to jump off. Then all of a sudden it's like, wait, what happened? It's like a whole different environment. Yeah. I don't know.
Or you'll be in
Maybe.
the middle of a session, and like everything's calm, but then when that energy changes, there's a shift and you can feel it.
You can
And a
feel it.
lot of times,
Absolutely.
yes, a lot of times I'll even say that. So on my recorder, it'll document it. And so, like there was one time I was asking questions, nothing, nothing was happening. And then I felt the energy change in the room. It became like electrified and thicker and just heavier. And I said it out loud. So just so I could tag it on my recorder. Okay, there was just an energy shift in the room. Then when I listened back on my recorder, from the point that energy shift happened, I got EVPs.
Yeah.
And then when it lifted, and I'll tag too when I feel it. When I don't feel that anymore, when it lifts, you anymore. And so that's always neat because trust your instincts enough.
Yeah.
Like when you do sense something, tag it, even if you feel silly, because sometimes you'll listen back and you start getting EVPs and you're like, oh, okay, then I was feeling something. You got to trust that feeling.
And because you will not remember when you're listening back to your recordings.
Yeah.
You're
you won't.
in the moment, you're like, ooh, I'm going to remember this. I heard that knock and this is what I thought. All that's gone because it's been days. Sometimes it's been weeks and you haven't been able to listen to it and then whole other headspace. So yeah, we tagging and also writing things down. I started bringing a little small little notebook to write things down, throughout the night, and that can really save you a watch, So always tag. We are big believers in tagging. We need to be better at tagging sometimes, but yeah, and maybe it's like a veil, almost like a veil. Sometimes that veil's thicker, sometimes that veil's thinner, and sometimes it's not there at all, so it depends.
We were talking recently, I think Les had mentioned this, and about how he will have different kinds of equipment going at the same time. And a lot of times he's noticed when he gets an EVP, there is a spike in either electromagnetic fields or whatever. There's a spike. And I've noticed that too. Sometimes when I have especially a REM pod, and I'm listening back to my recorder and I get an EVP, the REM pod might beep. It might have a little flash or something. And so sometimes you get those spikes. So I've wondered too, is it maybe a little extra, like a pulse of electromagnetic frequencies in there that gives them enough strength to, or are they causing that EMF spike? It's
Yeah, and that's why we have things like the EMF pump, to see if we can, influence that in some way. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's one thing that I would like to be able to study more and experiment on is all the things that happen the moment you get activity.
Yeah,
The moment you get an EVP or something, all of the scientific parts of it, what all happens in that moment.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely.
weather has a lot to do with it too.
Right, right. You're absolutely right.
Mhm.
All right, let's go on to our next question, which is why can we sometimes see them and sometimes not? Another
Mhm.
good question.
Um, I think same thing. It's like, is as the answering, like sometimes the weather will make it easier for them to manifest
Hmm.
different, you know, energies, like maybe the veil momentarily thinned. Sometimes I think they mean to let you see them, sometimes they don't mean to.
Yeah,
And so it's almost yeah, but I think the same concept could apply to all those environmental factors
yeah,
as to how sometimes they can, sometimes they can't.
yeah.
I think too, you have to be the more sensitive you are to the paranormal, the easier it is for you to be able to see and hear certain things.
Which is probably why I never see anything. 'Cause I am not a sensitive at all. At all am
Yeah.
I don't even claim to be a sensitive. Not even a little bit.
Mhm.
Mm. But I mean, I've seen some things, and that also one of the phenomenons that we've seen as ghost hunters or as paranormal investigators is that audio evidence we seem to get constantly and a lot of, but video evidence is almost elusive. It's like that's the holy
Yeah.
grail for ghost hunters is getting video evidence. It's a harder.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what's weird? Okay, you know that whole theory of children and animals can see
Mhm.
spirits.
Yeah.
You lose that ability the older you get. I kind of believe that a little bit because when I was little, I used to see the ghost in my house.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a physical like apparition in my adult life the way that I've seen them like when I was a kid. And so I
Yeah.
kind of wonder too, like I do believe I'm still sensitive to the paranormal, but definitely when there was a part of me when I was younger that was more sensitive to that. I
Yeah.
kind of wish I could get that back, but then in a way I'm kind of like, well, maybe I don't want to see that anymore. I don't want to be too scared.
Maybe you saw some stuff that you want to forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know. Living with 3 dogs in a haunted house, I definitely do believe that my dogs see and hear things that I can't see and hear because, especially in my hallway. Now, the hall. Okay, if you can see the room behind me, directly in front of me is a hallway, and I used to have everything on this side, and I would see out of the corner of my eye every night at about the same time. I would see something moving in the hallway. The dogs would see it; they would go towards it, but I would see it. And since I move things around, I can't see around this corner. So I think they can let you see it because I saw it almost nightly while just relaxing, watching TV, and the dogs see it constantly. They'll get up, they'll look down the hallway, and my little one will start walking down the hallway like with her tail wagging. It's like so. I
Mhm.
think they play with the little girl a lot around in my
Yeah.
house. So it's
Hmm.
it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we have one final question for the evening. And that is, why is it believed that children are more in tune to spirits than adults? Perfect
Yeah.
segue.
Yeah. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because our minds do become more clouded the older we get, but also kids are more open-minded to certain things,
Yeah.
but um I don't know honestly. I will say this. Okay, so growing up, like, we grew up in like a haunted house and everything, but it got to a certain point. It was like we told ourselves, like my mom and everything, she was like, let's not talk about it too much, like out in
Yeah.
public. People would think we're crazy. This was back in like the 80s and 90s when the paranormal shows weren't a thing, and most of the time it was a little taboo. You just don't
Hmm.
talk about it if your house is haunted or you're haunted or just whatever. And so it got to the point we didn't talk about it anymore to people. And then the older I got and having kids and everything, I kind of pushed a lot of my paranormal ways and stuff kind of behind a door. Like I just
Yeah.
kind of I was like trying to ignore all of that because I didn't understand it and I didn't know all this. So I kind of pushed it aside. So I feel like I shut some doors that um still, yeah, I purposefully shut some doors.
Yeah.
But then it got to the point was like, I'm gonna open those doors back up. I don't think I have opened them the way that they were open like when I was a child. But so anyway, my point is I think that sometimes we do, whether it's intentional or not, the older we get, we shut those doors.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. That's just some thoughts, you
Yeah.
know.
That's possible. That's very possible. And
Hmm.
there's theories that imaginary friends are actually ghosts. I don't
Yeah.
remember having an imaginary friend when I was a kid.
Hmm.
Um, but I think I did see some weird things in my great grandmother's house and things like that. But and they always say kids have a much greater imagination too. So maybe that imagination plays into what they're able to communicate with and see. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Hmm.
Hollywood goes into that a lot as well. So that's
Yeah.
something else that Hollywood could influence. What we believe.
Hmm.
With children. So who knows? Who knows?
And the more that uh, in my adult life that I have gotten back involved in the paranormal, I can tell a lot of those sensitivities in me have become a little bit more apparent. So just having the involvement of all of this, I feel like has also, even though I do feel in tune with spirits, but just not like I was
Yeah.
when I was a kid. But I'm trying to trust my intuition. I'm trying to. I actually took a class with Stephanie Burke. I don't know if y'all are familiar with her. She I can't think of Haunted Asylum. I can't think of the name of her show,
Mm.
but I took a class with her, and she was really great to kind of help me to trust my intuition more.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of things that my biggest thing was self doubt,
Yeah.
and so but that has helped me even as a paranormal investigator to trust those instincts and trust that intuition. And a lot of times I'm able to validate it with documented evidence. But
Mhm.
it's so anyway, she offers mentoring classes if
Oh,
anybody ever
cool.
wanted to reach
I
out to
need to
her.
do it because I would like to try to be more sensitive. I really,
Hmm.
yeah, no, but spiritually sensitive.
Hmm.
I'm a,
Yeah.
I'm a modern man, but to be like more spiritual. I feel like when I'm on an investigation, it's like I'm closed off. It's like there's a wall, and I'm like I don't want to do that. It's like I want to,
Hmm.
so sometimes I just close my eyes and be like, okay, I'm here, and I try to like really be calm. I don't.
Hmm.
It's hard to put into words, but I almost feel like I'm putting a wall up, and that's not letting me communicate with anyone.
And you get into the zone. You get into
Yeah,
your
yeah,
zone.
right. Of I'm
Yeah.
investigating right now, and I'm doing the
Yeah.
CVP session, and so sometimes
Yeah.
especially when I'm by myself, I will
Mhm.
just not talk. I'm just like and I'll audibly say, I'm just going to sit here, and I want you to talk to me, and just
Mhm.
do what you want to do. And so I'm trying to get out of feeling like I'm almost like a cooler. I've heard people
Mhm.
refer to it as being a cooler, as
Mhm.
when I walk into a place, the paranormal activity stops. It's like, so
Mhm.
I'm trying not to do that, and I don't know how to do that. So if anyone has any suggestions out there with just for me
Well,
personally,
yeah,
let me know.
Stephanie's classes. So she does a mentorship, but she also the class I took was the intuition class, and it's
Mhm.
just a one-time thing. And she has some great techniques. And one thing that would be good to do, which I I just don't ever have time to do this, but I need to, is meditate before you go to an
Ooh,
investigation.
yeah. That's a good idea.
Helps you get more grounded, because I know exactly what you mean. When I get there, I have intentions of opening myself up to feeling, because your body is one of your best pieces of equipment at
Mhm.
an investigation.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we do get closed off and we get one track minded of, and sometimes for me, I get so excited at an investigation. I just, just a little too excited.
Yeah.
But you do have to kind of ground yourself for a minute and let your body feel the environment. Let your
Yeah.
body be aware of everything. So meditation is a big, maybe do a chakra cleanse or something
Yeah.
before you go. That's a great way to do it. I don't implement that myself as well, just because I usually don't have time.
Yeah. True.
But I would
Because we're
love to
always
be able to
rushed.
do that.
Yeah, we're
Yeah, I'd
always
love to
rushed.
be able to get, you know, um, more like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I try to do that on investigations. It's just, like you
Mhm.
said, it's just rush and trying to get everything
Mhm.
set up. And that's why sometimes I like when we go to an investigation with just recorders and our handhelds and
Mhm.
just go and just enjoy. So there's not the rush of setting up DVRs. It's not the rush of getting everything done. And
Mhm.
yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's just how it is. But this
Mhm.
was a good little discussion. I like that. Those were good questions.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, go ahead.
I was just say I do have a question for
Okay.
viewers
Okay.
though. So I would like to know, and if you're watching this live, you can answer, or if you watch this on the replay, comment, and we'll get back with you. But like, I would like to know, what involvement in the paranormal do you all have? Like, are
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
investigators, or do you live in a haunted house? Just enjoy the entertainment of it. Like, what involvement do you have in the paranormal? I just, I like to get to know people, and so if you want to let us know what you do. If you have a group, hey, put
Yeah.
your group's link, and we'll be sure to follow you on
Yeah.
social media and stuff. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. And what brings you to our podcast? What brings you to what we're doing? Yeah, we want to know our people. We've got our friend Jeremy, and Jeremy's been with us since literally day one, literally our
yeah,
first live investigation. And
yeah.
so we definitely love him, and we appreciate him being here, um, and we hope to see him every time we go live, and hopefully one day we'll have Jeremy on for an investigation.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. It would definitely be
Yeah.
amazing. So, yeah, if you have any questions for us, please put them in the comments or send us an email at crashmediaparanormal@gmail.com. And we're definitely going to do more frequently asked questions. So
Mhm.
if you do have questions, let us know. All
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
Anything to add, Miss Ashley?
Um, I did have some more, but my brain is blank, and I can't remember now what I was gonna say.
That sounds about right, man.
Oh, I know what it was.
Okay.
Sorry, my brain is kind of, sometimes it doesn't work right. Um, so I have a question. It's kind of random.
Uh-huh.
So for a future podcast episode, would anyone be interested in a discussion of elementals?
Oh, I like that. I'm
So
definitely interested.
I have some stuff I'd like to talk about, some elementals. So that's kind of, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if anybody
Yeah,
wants
let's see if
to
we can
talk
find,
about
because
elementals.
I don't know hardly anything about elementals, so I would like to learn. So if you are out there and you know something about elementals, let us know, and we will have you on our show. Um, but other than that, yeah, just get in touch with us, and we'd love to hear from you.
Mhm.
All
Yep.
right. Well, we're going to call it a night. And Ashley, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you soon. And all you guys out there, happy ghost hunting. All right.
Thanks for
All
watching.
right. Bye bye. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos or want to be a part of our live investigations, hit the subscribe button. Also, if you have any ideas for future investigations or want to share your own paranormal encounters, please feel free to leave a comment or send an email to crashmediaparanormal@gmail.com.